The view from where we sit is gorgeous, even if we don't fit inside your little portrait. The big picture is enormous, so we don't even have to fit. We after it, true purpose, yeah, we have to get. We mastered it, reporting it live from Black Pew, discussing politics, the culture, and laughing at you. Cause you don't understand the viewpoint, don't mean you up by a few points. You just ain't hip to these new joints we on. The world says to follow they pitch, we set the tone, then we knock it over the fence. Oh yes, it's gone. Them haters screaming loud from the bench. They get the bat and try to copy technique, but they miss the point that I mentioned earlier. I see that you observing the way I strangle this beat. Oh yeah, I'm a murderer. Enough of me, let's get back to this gorgeous view. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Welcome to the Black Pew.
Somebody who I was talking to was like, I was like, oh, let's go out to eat. They were like, we're gonna go out to eat. And
Trey Stubby killing it on Facebook.
I make sure the place has ranch. And I'm like, get my friend on Facebook.
Word gets around.
Man. Like, I didn't even do all that.
You're a celebrity.
Trey Stubby killing it on Facebook.
I know by 11 a.m. if Trey gonna be on fire today.
Oh,
I'll be like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, he rolling.
Yeah, there's days where I just get on it and look at Trey post. That's entertaining.
Y'all ain't right.
That's when he's the most entertaining.
Y'all ain't right. It usually be in the morning. In the afternoon, I be trying to let it cool down because I be getting the inbox lit up.
No. What it is in the morning you do all the posts. In the afternoon, you're commenting, rebuttaling the post. That's what you do. So
I be on the recline, like, okay, let's see who's this gonna trigger.
Nah.
Yeah. Always trying to get in somebody's skin.
Sometimes I be getting under my own skin.
Sometimes I'll be like, man, it's too early for this. like the day just getting started. Why are you talking like this?
Well,
his day been started.
I usually be at work at like 5. So I've already interacted
you
with
be
people.
In full stride.
By like 9 o'clock, I've interacted with like 10 people.
I'm on that same line.
And I'm on.
I just had lunch.
Exactly. I done already got annoyed by somebody. I done already. Thank y'all for tuning in. Black Pew Podcast. We have some special guests today. Introduce yourselves to the viewers.
Hello. My name is Patrice Bell.
Hey everybody, my name is Alcide Bell.
I don't really know what.
I know guests to the viewers, but if you want to, shining dipped in Crisco, your boy Marv.
Your girl Kendra.
Come on.
We can't even hear you.
Come on.
Oh my God, you guys always get on me about
We
that.
can't even
It's
hear
Kendra. Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Verizon.
Alan, Patrice.
He's with Sprint now, right?
What y'all got? What y'all been up to? Last time I saw you guys, y'all was robbing the bank.
You never even introduced yourself.
And
Right.
they was robbing the bank.
What is your name again?
And
Dry snitch.
I tried to read the reg.
no, what y'all been up to? I haven't seen you guys since we had you on the radio show.
I know. That's been like 3 years.
I know.
Vision Bees.
What have we been up to? We done changed jobs a few times.
Yeah. We've been living regular life. Just
We bought a house.
Yeah, got a house.
We moved. Changed jobs again.
Just growing in our careers, basically. So we're trying to find. We're just now like hitting that grooves where it's like, oh, okay, I know what I want to do, so let me go ahead and pursue this. But other than that, just raising kids, living a family life.
Pull the mic closer.
Living a family life and just, trying to be the best human beings and be resources to our community.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's dope.
Yeah, it is.
Where where did y'all move? Hold on, wait. No, you guys were how long y'all with Boeing when y'all left?
Oh, were we still with Boeing?
Yeah.
We're still with Boeing.
Look, I done went and got a hospitality degree. I love Boeing, and then I was just kind of floundering. I was a stay-at-home mom. I'm not built for that. Then
Not at all.
I don't have a talent for it. I'm sorry.
My wife does not have the talent for home wifery.
So that's okay though.
Wifery.
No, then I went hospitality school. Then I worked in a hotel for a little bit. And then now I'm a director of guest services and external affairs at the Northwest African American Museum.
Oh, yes, right.
So that's where I am right now.
Yeah.
So I've been there about 2 years now.
That's dope.
How was that during the pandemic?
Great. I feel terrible because I got more work done during being able to work from home than I was doing when I was actually in the building, because I was running the front of house. So I'm like trying to work, trying to do things, but then it's like, oh, I'm also trying to interact with guests and check people in and maybe train a volunteer or whatever. Like, it was a lot going on, but man, I've been at working like ridiculous hours. I'm gonna try to cut back on that, but yeah, like been able to do a lot with the position, virtual events everywhere, outdoors events, like securing partnerships. I've been working with a lot of folks. It's been great.
So y'all were still having tours virtually throughout the whole time?
We actually haven't been doing any virtual tours. So like we started this book giveaway. We literally just go out, we get brand new books, and we give them away to people in the community. We've done a few in Tacoma even. So it's called Knowledge is Power book giveaway. So people donate to it. So we buy brand new books that center and affirm Black children. Sometimes it's about history. Sometimes it's just a little Black boy fighting a monster. Like, just wanting you to see yourself in these.
I love Black sci-fi.
Yeah.
So is it?
Tristan Strong. That's
So have you been working hands-on the whole pandemic, pretty much?
Yeah. A lot of our team got furloughed. And I'm not gonna lie, at that time I was still just running guest services. I was like, yeah, man, I'm about to get this laid off furlough.
Back to life.
I already know I
life,
got furloughed, so I got the furlough money.
See,
Yeah.
that's what
She's
I
waiting
thought.
on that furlough
I was waiting
list
for
like
them to call
basketball
me.
tryouts. You know
And
what
they
I'm
were
saying?
like-
She was.
They said, okay, so you, and my name was on the list for people staying. I'm like, And then, like, some people left, so I ended up taking on, so I run marketing, PR, the volunteer program, all of our like program planning and execution. I was running a store, but yeah, the genealogy. Pretty much, I do everything except for the fundraising, which I help with that sometimes too.
I only ask because I know it's I know like now, because a lot of people haven't like actually hands-on worked in like a year and a half, and like a lot of businesses are like calling their workforce back, and so now you have like a return to work hesitancy now because people aren't used to having that routine of going to work. So it's kind of been like I've worked on and off during the pandemic, but not nothing hands-on like the total time. So I've had some of the return to work hesitancy sometimes. I'm full back now, but I've seen it, and so it's kind of a blessing to be able to work that whole time, to like, not have to like fight to get back in the routine I already have it.
There's a guilt there though. It's like, dang, like we never had a point where it was like nobody in our house is working.
The world is burning.
The world is burning,
But
and I'm getting
doing fine.
promoted and getting raises and like and working with Cornell West. Called me out, y'all. Like, look, I'm having conversations with Cornell West and hanging out, hanging tough, and just having a good time. Like, and people are dying. The world is burning.
Are not making any money.
Like,
because I mean, you know, the company that I worked for, I was fortunate enough to be sent home and still get a full-time paycheck and not have to draw from unemployment, not have to do any of that. And it created this almost a decisiveness between you and other people, because people became envious or jealous to the fact that you didn't even have to go nowhere to earn a check, and you know they're struggling to survive because once their welfare or their unemployment benefits got cut off for the extra money, you know, they're struggling there because the unemployment, we all know unemployment ain't no money, you know, like, and so that extra $600 was helping, you know, and so when that got cut off, you know, so
Unemployment was good on during
Well,
COVID,
if we gonna talk, so one of my biggest things about the pandemic is like the world basically as we knew it ended. But and so in the labor market, like I was like, oh, it's time for a labor revolution, right? And I was in my mind trying to figure out why aren't people mad enough, right? But I'm working, right? So I'm not getting the EDD supplemental, right? And then I realized just like, oh, the government is supplementing $2,400 a month people's lives. It's just like, oh, okay, that's double, more than double what some people were getting just on a regular job. So of course people are quiet, right? And so like at this whole time I'm just like, people realize that the machine stopped, and you ain't have enough money for 1 week. Let alone 2 weeks, let alone 6 months, right? Or what we now 18 months in? Like let alone 18 months of just non-normalcy. So it's just like I'm thinking people gonna be like, okay, labor law is gonna change, minimum wage gonna go up everywhere. But no, that didn't happen, and it's only because $2,400 extra dollars a month, you can do some things with that, right?
Yeah.
And so like that's the part that blew my mind about the whole pandemic.
Well,
do you think people would have? There would have been more like if you take like stuff that happened in like Greece when they were doing austerity cuts and like they were cutting people's paychecks and the taxes were like way higher and they were cutting government services and people started to get out in the streets because the government was trying to make up for such a shortfall. Do you think that would have happened here?
100%. You got a bunch of people living on the margins, right? Check to check is like just that's the good, right? That's the better version of how people are living, right? So like people are literally like in a deficit every 2 weeks, and it's like if the government hadn't come in and said, "Here go this extra $600 a week for however long, for however many people," you just saw riots in the street. White people would have been mad.
Yeah.
And they got guns on the regular, so they figure out what to do with them when they get angry.
But see, I don't understand. All right, so there at one point in somewhere, and this could be outdated, but I know in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was research done, and it was an economic research. It was if you gave money to the people in poverty now, and if you gave everybody right now 1%, everybody an equal amount of money, the 1% would stay the 1%, and the people that were on the bottom would stay there, because regardless of if you give people money, you're not teaching them what to do with it. And so the thing is like you can supplement a check $600 a month. We seen what people were doing. People were splurging.
And that's essentially what it was for, to continue the
and so
the
now it's gone, and you are in a rut, because when you had it on the good side, you didn't take advantage of it, or you took advantage of it to a certain extent that didn't benefit the long term, because we all knew it was a short-term effect.
Yeah, it's an oversimplistic view.
Let me put it to you like this: when you've been in a hole for so long and you get extra, it takes time for that extra to fill that hole.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So what we saw was people filling the hole that shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Well, so I'm not. That's one thing I'm not knocking. When it comes to what put somebody in a position to be behind in the first place, I'm not arguing that theory. Yeah. But we do realize that people have sometimes like an institutionalized mindset. So sometimes people become their surroundings, and so if you're not in a surrounding built to think out of the box or think for more, eventually what you get only goes back to the lifestyle that you already have, and you only look at those things that may look out the box to you because you've only been able to look inside of this certain parameter. And so you can go to the hood right now. There's so many people have never been outside of their city. So you only know what you know. So if you give money, you only know how to spend the money the way that you've always known how to spend it, versus if you're given the money and taught how to invest or any of those things. And so it is more of a surface. I was just saying it's more of a surface view of it, but it's one thing that I've been saying, because at the same time, this is what happened at the end of the pandemic, is that people were getting these supplemental checks, and then when it ended, everybody was like, well, dang, we was getting that extra $600 and that really helped. Well, yeah. Now, and so some people were trying to dig themselves out of a hole, and some people weren't paying attention to the hole that they were in.
Well, yeah. So all of that. So even with in a book called The Color of Money, right? So if we talking about, hey, people didn't know what to do with their money, well, that's contrary to the research that came out in the 60s. So Nixon implemented all these programs in the inner city, like on financial literacy, right? Came back 10 years later, and he was just like, well, how come y'all not using them? And across the board, what they found out is people said, like, yeah, we know about those tools. We don't have enough money to use them. We don't even have enough money to be financially responsible.
Yeah.
Well, let me add to that, though. During the pandemic, there was, I don't know how many free seminars. I took one on financial literacy, and they gave you the tools for free. There was, I don't know how many different certificates and things that Harvard, Howard, all these different universities was giving folks, including
They're giving them
educational
money.
tools for your children. Yeah,
Yeah.
you wanted to get a certificate for some type of degree that you wanted, just at the beginning of it, it was free. They were handing those out during COVID. And
I mean,
if you wanted that, you couldn't have taken the opportunity. Whether that
but if
people
you're
all knew about
if you're
it.
handing it out, are they directing people on how to use it after handing it out? Because if you're giving a service to somebody that's brand new, even if I go to a course and take a course on if I take a course on real estate, as far as like I learned real estate, but what's the next step after I get a real estate license? Like, so I can get a real estate license.
Well,
What's the
let
next
me
step?
tell you the answer to that since I know it. Real estate, actually, they cut it more than half just to get your license during the pandemic. And then they actually assign you somebody to help you through it wherever you are going to be selling your houses at. So
I hear what
they're given tools. When I tell you that I've seen so many different, whether it was to sell insurance, realtor,
I don't know insurance life. Nah.
What I
all
think,
of these, they were given
If you're
these
not
things
connected
for
to
free.
somebody with money,
What I
though, it's worthless. Like I did New York Life.
And see,
I mean, it was
and that's
great.
what I'm saying, because like, all right,
Nobody
so
in my network
if I
could afford
teach you
it.
something, if
Yeah,
I'm not
teach you
funneling,
something,
if I'm
do
not
something
have,
with
if I
yourself
don't have a
at this-
situation funneling you into that in that direction to monetize off of it,
Right.
what good is it? It's just a piece of paper.
what I think Marvin is more so
but it's
getting
just
at
knowledge, though, too, that
with
you can.
with real estate is like, so you can have all the so on knowledge, like you can have all the knowledge in the world, and that's what the study it says. Like you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't have access to apply it. Now, what Marvin is mostly getting at is how do I be a player in real estate? So as an agent, you're a player, you're a facilitator, right? But no, how do I be the person buying the house,
Right.
renovating the house, improving the landscape, selling that? And that's, I think,
In a sense,
yeah.
like removing the middleman, and exactly.
Yeah. So how do I be a player in that and not just a facilitator? So yes, I can get a license to sell houses, and with the commissions, if I'm hustling, I can make a lot of money. But it's just like I'm not making the max money I can make on one sale.
You're not allowing me to maximize my potential in this industry. You pretty much create a glass ceiling for me in that sense, as far as like I can make money off of the commissions or whatever, but I can never be like you're not teaching me how to be the big player in the whole thing. Like there's still
Well,
a
I
level
think
of control to it.
But I think you've got to do that for yourself.
No,
Ask the
no.
questions.
If you take it all the way back to slavery, right? And you feel that if we say just white America, if we just take a white America,
long way,
no, but I'm just saying, if you just say white America they've advanced their agenda based off of free labor at that time of however many years of that be. So you think about you say that we're already behind the ball because they've been able to establish their hierarchy in this land and then allow everybody else now to play. So you look at any industry, now you're already starting from behind the ball. They already have all the opportunities. So you're fighting. So what I'm saying is they have the power to funnel you through to the top, but they've
Will
created
they
a
give
glass
it?
ceiling so you
Yeah.
can't play in the 1%.
But that's why you
Okay.
try to get around it somehow.
Okay.
Ask questions, get out in the industry, do whatever you need to do. I mean, that's just how I would do it. I wouldn't just wait for
I
them
work
to
a
hand it to
full-time
me.
job.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
they do let a few through, so they can say, "Look, they did it. Why
Exactly.
can't you?"
Yeah.
But the thing is, you might make
Vanna
it.
White with it.
I
LeBron
might make
James.
it. All of us in
Yeah.
this room
Michael
just
Jordan.
might make it. Statistically, probably not.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that statistically, Black people are not making it. So yeah, we can have a few of us who find a way to fight through and get through there, but it doesn't change the fact that there's all these people putting up walls. Why
Right.
why are
glass
these walls
ceilings.
here
Yeah.
in the first place? But yeah, I need money. I don't need no more classes about what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Cash money. And I
That's
can
right.
show you all that I learned. But yeah,
Well,
education is important at a certain extent.
Yeah.
It's funny you say glass ceiling because a glass ceiling is there for you to see up,
Up, exactly.
but to not be able to go
Exactly.
through.
And so that's why you let the few through.
Yep.
Because there's a facade that everybody has the opportunity to make it.
Yeah.
But it's a glass ceiling because as you're looking up saying I can make it there too, you're gonna eventually hit your head and say this is the end of the road for you, buddy.
Yeah.
You know, and so if we're gonna talk about just if we just talk about our counterparts, if we just talk about our counterparts in America, they don't have to necessarily fight with that. I mean, they got there's a glass door on their ceiling.
Yeah.
So you know
Yeah.
there's a ceiling for everybody else, and they see them coming, they open the vent, and you can slide through. We got a pass for you. You know. I mean, you could even talk to it. I don't know if you guys are familiar with sports, but they have the Marie Taylor, Rachel Nichols thing that's going on right now. And
No, or even before that.
I mean, but this is what's hot right now.
Wait. The biggest thing that has happened in the NCAA, like because of LeBron James and his manager, they changed the NCAA rules.
Oh, so that you could be able to monetize off of.
They said like if you go to the league, you can't come back to to college basketball, right? Because LeBron James and his manager and the team of athletes they have were doing so well. That was a little back door to the system they had set up. But now it's like, okay, you can't as an athlete, if you go to the league, you can never come back. So they set it up like boxing now. You can never go back to the amateurs.
Yeah.
Then to be a certified manager, there were no certifications
Yeah,
before.
you gotta have
to be a
yeah,
certifive
yeah.
manager,
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah, they
have a
should.
degree.
That is
It's
because
just like
that's because of LeBron's partner.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
because of Rich
Yeah.
Paul,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
because Rich Paul made waves so that players can be able to monetize off of themselves, they said, you know what, this man got too much power. So there's no more y'all can be involved in this game. Now everybody to be involved in this game got to jump through these loops. you
Yeah.
know?
and there was outrage, but there was no movement behind it.
Yeah,
right?
it was like, well, we'll look at it later on, but they didn't do anything because it just was like, it was like, hey, we got to set up this, we got to set up this gate, we got to set up this gate because then there might
They
be
found
some
a way.
some
because nobody else was
boogeyman.
pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
LeBron's, and you gonna tell you something, I'm not a LeBron fan, and that's because I'm a Warriors fan. All right, not a LeBron fan, okay?
That's
I'm a Warriors
the
fan.
difference.
You
There
feel
you
me?
go.
Warriors fan, Steph,
Steph
30 Curry
Curry,
all
hey.
day. You feel me? You know?
Splash
Hey,
Brothers.
so, you know, I'm not a LeBron fan, but as a man, I respect LeBron.
Yeah,
And the way he built his team, they individually pushed the envelope. Like, he put all his people in position to do those things. So if other people were taking notice to what LeBron did and we had other players doing those things, Rich Paul wouldn't have been singled out, and it wouldn't have been, oh, we got to figure out how to plug this gap, because they would have seen how much of an asset we were. But when you only have one person to look at and he's making all these ruffles, it's like, okay, we can stop that. It's hard to stop numbers. It's easier to stop an individual.
Yeah. So with that, we run into the chicken and the egg problem, right? Because somebody has to set the example.
yeah,
Right, so it's just like everybody now sees the example, but at the same time, the people who aspire to the example see it, and the people who want to stop that example see it,
Yeah.
and that's what we got. That was what happened. The action.
Or we got somebody who already had the structure of the example, but instead of trying to teach other people how to create the example, they figured, let's try to push the envelope first. And so what happened was they pushed the envelope first without the coalition of all these other people. Now you have the shutdown. And so the shutdown makes it harder for you to create what you have. So now you're almost an anomaly in that, because you're the only one that had it before these rules are in place. So now everybody has to go through these criterias, jump through these hoops, and be good enough for somebody else to say that you are, when you created this construct to say we didn't have to before this.
So what I'm gonna say is, LeBron James probably and his team and Chris was his
Rich Paul,
Rich Paul,
Maverick
not
Carter.
Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Rich Paul, LeBron James, and Rich Paul and their team and their management, right? They're probably not the first to try to do this, right? They're probably the most successful.
yeah.
right? And that success. So LeBron James' athletic success mixed with what he got a lifetime deal, Nike.
Yeah.
Lifetime deal with Nike. That success.
Well, all right.
That success, his athletic success and his prowess, paired with how he's moving outside of the court, right? Which is attributed to his management team, right?
Who are his best friends?
Right, creates this perfect storm. Can I?
Yes.
Well, shit, I want to be on the team with LeBron James, the best player in the NBA, arguably, right? And so it's just like, well, yeah, and he's a black man. He know what I'm going through. Like, I ain't got to explain nothing. It just is what it is, and they got my interest at heart, not only for the profit of the time that I'm in, but the profit that's going to happen after I leave the NBA.
Yep.
So, yes, you're going to get these superstars.
So this is where I want to challenge you at. How many players do you know have a shoe deal? $100 million, millions of dollars a shoe deal before they even step foot on an NBA court. Not even Michael Jordan. No player in the history of the NBA has signed a contract with Nike before they even played an NBA game. LeBron had a head start on most people. He had the capital to put people in places to advance them. As soon as he became a Cleveland Cavalier,
he didn't have the capital as soon as he became.
Hold on. Nike had already made him a shoe that was selling.
That don't mean they paid him.
Yes, they did. Yes, it does. Because in order for him to sign that contract with him, he got a signing bonus.
But that doesn't mean he got paid right there. And signing bonuses are generally loans.
Regardless on what you want to, regardless on when we play apples and oranges, cool. But we already know that once you got the signing bonus, you got people offering you lines of credit. You got all this. You can create a payroll.
I just want to point out that signing bonuses are generally loans. They're not cash equity that I can.
Wait, y'all. I have a clarifying question. Cool. Are we right now entering into an argument that it was LeBron James's responsibility?
No.
Okay.
I
was just making sure.
We're talking about the resources that LeBron James had.
No, so what I'm saying is that what I'm saying is because he has that resources, I think that it should be, something on a conscious person's mind that say that I do have a head up on most people coming into this game. So now I'm not saying that it's his duty to make sure that people are doing it, but at least giving the information of this is how we did it. This is you.
But you can't say this is how we did it until you do it.
No. But what I'm saying is we're looking at the final piece of the puzzle, which is allowing college people to monetize. But until this point, you got to think about LeBron has had an 18-year career, which means that Rich Paul has had an 18-year career, which means there's somewhere within that. So LeBron has had an 18-year career, which means that Rich Paul's had an 18-year career because they all started together. And so if that be the case, when Clutch Sports started, the Clutch Sports really became big at the height of the dynasty of the Cavaliers, Warriors fight back and forth. At that point, now you have been established. You see clients from different teams signing on to Clutch Sports. Everybody's seeing this. I'm pretty sure in other people's head, before this point, they thought being a player and being a manager of players was a conflict of interest. But LeBron was able to find the gray area in there somewhere. So in that sense, once you get that information, like I think it's our responsibility to our community to regurgitate that information and not hoard it. What people do with that information is on them.
So
who said he didn't tell people?
Yeah. So
I'm not 100% sure. Sorry.
So this is the gray area we get into.
But the proof is in the pudding.
I don't try to guess people's intentions.
Yeah.
I just look at the output. Now we do not know that at that point, Clutch Sports was trying to replicate themselves in the market, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact that they came in so strong and so broad, so not only at the NCAA but also on the NBA side, and cut both heads off as an athlete and as a manager.
True.
Right? It kind of messes everything up. So now you got to look for a new backdoor, or right, which it kind of seems like Clutch Sports won't do. They have to manufacture, right, these black managers, right? Like, come to us at another program. So we not only do we do sports management, we also like help you get through the requirements for being a sports manager, right? And that's a whole nother business.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, like I said, it's apples and oranges. It's
Look,
about
man,
intensity.
when you got Dwight Howard sounding on the right side of an issue versus LeBron James, that's an issue.
I get it.
For me,
I get
like,
it. I get it. But none of us.
Should the
Everybody
players-
wanted to be like Mike.
should the players be playing during COVID? And LeBron said, yeah, we should be playing. Like, at the height of the chaos. And Kyrie Irving and Dwight Howard just like, nah, it's actually unsafe.
And let me tell you
I don't
something.
think it should be happening. Like,
And for me,
on that issue, it's kind of just like,
I'm selfish. So you me tell you something. COVID was not real until the day they suspended the NBA season. I didn't care about anything else. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I'm talking about at my job, we was going through COVID protocol, all that. But the day that I was watching Oklahoma City and everybody was confused and everything, and I was like, oh, yeah. And I said, oh, no more NBA? No, I'm stuck at home. Somebody need to be playing something. Do you guys know that I watched a cornhole tournament just because I wanted to watch sports?
Oh, wow.
See,
Is that bad?
Go read a book.
Look, let me tell you something. LeBron get paid hundreds of millions of dollars. These guys some of these guys get paid $100 million. Now, this is where we talk about the wealth gap. Everybody don't get paid $100 million in the NBA.
Ain't enough. It wasn't enough ventilators in the country to save even the rich.
All right, but let me tell you something. If you're telling me that you're going to isolate everybody, how many COVID protocols did they have? Like, how many people did they have? They actually did a very successful job keeping everybody safe and having an actual season. The only COVID protocol you had was lemon pepper Lou going to Magic City. You feel me? During the whole thing. You feel me?
Yeah, I'm taking that chance.
I ain't mad at him, but he had his little
Magic
10-day
City?
COVID thing. You know.
You ever been to Magic City?
I heard.
I
that
haven't,
the
but I would have
wings-
went.
I done went to.
I would have went too.
What you talking about?
And I would have said the same
And
thing.
this is why
I would have said the same thing.
they
I
should
went there
have had a
like lemon pepper.
season. Because
I went-
Magic City is close. But no, but seriously, like, the players, the fact that, like, it's an airborne disease. You can get it without knowing you have it. You could be you can show signs that
Oh, you can get asymptomatic?
yeah, you can be asymptomatic, and then you go and breathe heavy in a game with 10 possibly 20 people, depending on the subs that you put in the game.
And the coaches.
Right,
Yeah.
and the coaches. And even though we in the bubble, well, the bubble can get sick.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, but we regular people, so we don't. We only see this at like this minute size, but we're talking about the NBA, who has billions of dollars. Like, they have regular testing, they had everything. Like, they can test everybody every single day, multiple times a day.
That's a problem
Do you know how
the world
it-
is trying to get a hold of tests?
Asymptomatic,
Why are we
but that's what I'm
wasting
saying.
them so that folks can watch basketball? The world is dying.
Well,
People can't
I
get
feel
tested,
like
and we
they
want to
felt
waste
like-
them daily on some players.
Well, you got to think about it. You had civil unrest. You had all these things going on, and mental health was at an all-time high during the pandemic. It just was a distraction for folks.
See,
So
you
I
bread
know
and
for me it
circus.
was a distraction. I know.
should have been
bread
distracted
and
with your
circus.
labor union riots. Wasn't that what we were supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
I was getting paid perfectly fine. You feel me?
So
And
you was fine,
Right.
and that's all right with you.
Yeah, at that moment, it was. I'm not gonna
And
see. That's what I'm saying.
that's why-
I'm gonna be 100% true, because at that same time, I think the whole world was in confusion as like what the heck is really going on.
No, not at that time.
I know.
It was like June.
No, it wasn't. It was early March. It was like March. I know because I remember when I got sent home from work.
Oh,
like,
you talking about?
No. I'm talking about the NBA. So
Oh,
for
you
you,
talking-
it became
you
real at the
talking about-
NBA.
I know when it stopped.
Oh, okay.
I said when the NBA
You're talking
stopped.
about
I'm talking about when the NBA stopped.
Versus he's talking about. You're talking
talking about
the
when
start-
they went to the
start of the
bubble.
bubble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
I'm talking
that's-
about when they stopped playing.
But even when they went to the bubble, it was real. Like, what was it? Italy? Like people who see death on a daily basis having a mental breakdown because of the amount of death that they are seeing.
But hold on, and this is saying it
People are
doesn't
renting
stop you from
trucks.
going to the store to go get groceries.
Because
your family.
you have
it
to
don't
eat.
stop you from going to the gas station. But that's what I'm saying. The thing is that it's like saying you can die. Like, oh, if you go over in this neighborhood, you can. The chance of you dying, you could die anywhere. You can die. So what I'm saying is,
But you don't
So
wake
what I'm
up
saying
and
is-
drink a shot
No,
of
so what I'm saying
chlorine.
is, what
Like,
I'm saying is, if
you
somebody
don't-
tells you, I can put you in a controlled environment in order for you to pull this off. Like most people on a day-to-day, if they did not go to this controlled environment, they would have been living in an uncontrolled environment. How are they going to eat every day? How are they going to be able to survive every day? How are they going to provide for their family today?
Grocery stores were controlled.
What they got bomb shelters or that's
But
what
they
I'm saying.
weren't
So-
coming home from we weren't coming home from the grocery store and then going and breathing hard and playing basketball with a bunch of other people.
They weren't, but see, they weren't even going to the grocery store. So you're telling me they're going to this one place to where nobody can leave nor come.
So
you
you
know-
want to isolate me from my family so I can
wait.
entertain the
I
world.
hear that.
Right.
No,
Bread and
no,
circus.
but that isn't
Do you know-
100. That's not
you know what I
100%
mean by
true.
bread and circus?
But that's not 100% true because once you got to a certain point, they allowed your family to come in and be with you. So most of those dudes that got to like the semifinals, whatever, their families, their kids, their wives, their all that came and they were able to enjoy that with their
Eventually.
families.
Was that when vaccines
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
happened?
No, there wasn't no vaccine.
Yeah.
No,
So-
there wasn't no vaccine.
so the whole
They just-
thing-
their families just had to quarantine.
The
for a certain
bubble
amount
with
of
the
time before they
NBA
were-
is one example of bread and circus. So if you don't know what that means, explain it to everybody.
explain to me.
Right. So during Roman eras, right? So they had the Colosseum.
Yeah.
And if they didn't have enough food for the people, they didn't have enough basically bread for the people to sustain the people. What they would do is put on a big festival. Give them a circus, a distraction, and that's exactly what the NBA Finals in the bubble was last year. We don't have enough bread for y'all. The world has fallen; it went to pot. Now here's this circus, so you don't have to think about, at least for these couple hours out the day, you don't have to think about the fact that you ain't got no bread.
I'll tell you right now, anything else in the world could be going on. NBA, NFL is a shiny thing that you could dangle right in front of my face, and I'm like traumatized. I'm there, you know. I'm there, and maybe it's because personally I was an athlete, and so that's what I relate to. You know, I mean, some people are chefs, and so they get traumatized by cooking shows or whatever. I mean, so that's just my thing. You know, that's what makes me feel. That was my comfort zone in an uncomfortable era, and you can't blame people for that. You know, and that's the thing. And so with us. Let's be real, because in order to even have a arena in your city, it's infused by taxpayers' dollars. So that means half of that means some of that salary that the player's been playing, you know, it's your time to come and save people. People don't get to live at the luxury that you get to live at. People don't get paid hundreds of millions of dollars. Most of these people are struggling. Some people are struggling inside their house. They have nowhere else to go. They need something to look to. And you know what? That may be the distraction. Regardless on if people feel like it may be wrong or whatever, it actually did a service to people. It gave them a chance to not think about their mortality due to this virus, because I know when it first started, people made you feel like if you touched somebody, you would die. You know? So just think about how many people were fearful of the fact that they can catch something that may end their life. And maybe the last thing that they wanted to do was see LeBron James playing the NBA Finals or see something like that. You never know what people's wish are, you know? And so that's where we come to the point to where it's like, it's almost insane to judge a person's reaction to something. You get something, and how we all individually react to it is how you react to it. And a lot of times that's how you cope with maybe your mental health. Now, some people may look at this at a time that, hey, this is where I advance. And some people may be saying, you know what, I'm so overloaded because I work 50, 60, 70 hours a week that this is my time to digress. You know, and to watch LeBron James do something that I've never seen somebody do in basketball right now may be it for me.
But
Right.
I think go ahead.
So when coping, so this is the tipping point for me.
Yeah.
When coping, right, and people cope in all type of ways, turns to escapism, right, is when you go to your coping mechanism and never try to figure out, why is this happening to me? And how can I prevent it from happening ever again, or mitigate it in such a way that is minimized.
I literally told y'all why I liked it. I was an athlete. And
No. But did it spur you? The fact that well no, because you said you were getting sent home with checks,
yeah, I got checks.
right?
So I was
but like there's an issue, right? That didn't affect you, right? That I was thinking about. Like I said, the world was burning, but I was being successful, right? That happened. That like needs to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Something has to be done about it. So yes, NBA is your escape. That's fine. But you still, after your escape goes off, you still have to live in this shit.
It should, yeah.
Yeah.
It should, cause
And then so now the question is, what are you gonna do about it?
Well,
Are you just gonna
Wait till
rocking
the
your
next game.
chair to the next game?
And so that's what I think
Right.
people don't understand is, and that's maybe the part that you leave out is that people think that you're just sitting there watching basketball 24/7 a day. No, but there is things that do recharge you. See, the thing is when you get to a point of almost distress or you don't know what to do. Sometimes you do look to those coping things that do recharge you. I'm an athlete.
I agree with
that. So seeing competition,
Right.
seeing people strive to be great,
Right.
Drives me.
Right.
So
Did
to
you
be able to
find
see
that?
that, but to be able to see that always kept me going through the pandemic.
It got you to the next day.
Because my thing is we talk. I'm a leadership on my church board. I never stopped working.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But instead of always be discouraged, I look for something that always encouraged me in the real life. I can always go to the word and be encouraged, but
Okay.
at the same time, I'm a human being.
Right.
And so there's these things that I look to that get me through something. So right now, the NBA Finals. I'm right now. NBA Finals is going on right now as we are talking, and I'm more interested on this conversation. I know I could
Go
DVR that
Suns.
thing.
The church kid me about to get you. So the Lord wasn't what you looked to get you through.
No. Time out. You call it what you want to call it. But you will call it what I want to call it. But we all fall short of the glory of God. So am I in that moment? No, you can't hang on that. Time out. I can't hang on that. I admit it in that moment.
chose to fall short.
He's passionate about this subject.
Time out. I admit it. But in my transparency, I'm admitting in that time. Hold on. The thing is, for you to even come at me with that, I've been through in the part to where I know that I've been through in that part, but I'm a human being. So you name me one human being that in every aspect in their life is covered with the Lord.
Patrice Bell.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
But this is my whole thing.
Where the rapture at? Because if you ain't perfect,
This is the thing. This is the thing. So, but my question to you. So you have coped. You have coped, and you are currently coping, right? So, but what are you doing about the actual problem?
No.
You cope with
Honestly, for the most part, it wasn't real to me. But like, lost their entire families to it, and they were the ones standing left behind. Like, it's hard for me to say out loud. Like, it wasn't real. Like,
well, I think this is something that everybody in
it
COVID
really-
went to. It did not become real until it hit close to you.
and
And
that's
so
the thing,
that
like,
what was close.
And this is why
And
I'm
how
on the
do we-
NBA thing. Because
Yeah, that's what was
for
close-
a mass of people.
That's what was close to
it
me.
hit close to home
And
because
so
people
that-
love the
I hear what
NBA.
you. All right. I got you.
So I'm not talking about
No. I got you
how
now.
do we
I'm with you. I'm with you.
How do we force this large mass of people to empathize
Yeah.
with the rest of the world? How do we activate that large mass?
I hear what you.
To have the empathy, to understand that, hey, I'm not feeling it, but like the world is really
But see,
shit.
now I can't
Like,
even really say what I really gotta say.
But it
because
was-
now it makes me feel
it
like
was-
I'm backpedaling because of what she said to me.
It was
I
so.
was just
When I
kidding.
I know you was just kidding, but when you say that, now if I say
It
what
was
I'm really gonna say, it makes me feel like I'm.
ideas.
It makes me feel like I'm backpedaling. She's like, oh, so you're
But-
saying the Lord was never yours.
But it was so
I'm
hard
just saying,
for.
I'm just a preacher's
It was
kid.
so
Let the
easy
host
for
talk.
us. No, you're fine. No, you're fine. No, I like to talk. It was so hard for us to do that. You had people who died in their house, and they still couldn't empathize with people outside of their own house to do things for COVID. But the rest of the planet was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll stop that for a little while. Like, why was
Americans are a very special
We-
brand of human. I don't know.
that exceptionalism really that exception 2020 was like, oh, y'all think y'all exceptional? We was like, yes, we are.
Well,
It was like, okay, cool.
we also had the worst. We also had the worst leadership for this specific emergency.
100% true.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
So
forgot about
we
that.
think about we
I
think
forgot I
about
have too. I forgot he was even president. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
yeah, he was president.
I forgot.
It's like
Maybe forgot.
it's that. It's
Like
like that.
44, 46. I don't even know.
It's like that fling you don't talk about. Like you, I saw you.
Yeah.
Did you I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, yeah. So we had so we think about it in terms of people on the booth day to day, right? No, like our leadership was just horrible in this. Like, so people think of Trump as the president. Yeah, he was up there talking how he wanted to talk, but you gotta remember, like, presidencies are administrations. They're
Yeah.
a whole team.
Yeah.
There was anybody in that team that said, "Nah, you bullshitting.
Yeah.
This is what we gonna do," right? And could have faced the backlash for it, but at the same time, you still got to stand on your square at some point and say, like,
We watched white mediocrity at its best.
We watched,
Yeah, but I want as far as American people, I think that we have this history with the government of this, like, it's hard to trust, and so when certain things come out, like, you don't really like. When coronavirus came out and you're telling me all these numbers and people dying, if I'm not actually seeing it and I'm not seeing people getting sick and I'm not seeing the infectious rate, I'm thinking, this is all propaganda from the media. We've been trained to think that in America, that media, we talk about the leadership from that guy. He always talked about fake news, and so we were trained to, like, so do we trust every story that comes out on the media? So you have to do all this backtrack checking to figure out if the media is saying what they're saying. And some people were just like, I'm not willing to do that right now. And so you had this conditioned mind of saying, you know what? The government is probably lying to us. This may not be real. And it didn't really become real until it affected something that was real to you. So if it be a family member, if it be a friend, if it be a coworker,
Or the
if it be
NBA.
the NBA. Yeah, I was going there. I was like, I ain't
help you out
it be
with
the
your
NBA.
trigger.
'Cause I'm telling you.
this one.
I'm telling you straight.
right.
I'm telling you straight up. I had a
Forget
dude
this
at my job who could not stop coughing during COVID, and everybody was looking at him like, "Oh, that's that COVID." And that was before the end of the NBA. I was still like, "Oh yeah, I'm on edge about this thing. That man probably just had a cold or something like that." As soon as they stopped that game, I was like, "Oh, this is real.
Let me get
this.
Hey, dog, why you coughing?
This is
hey,
real.
cough quieter.
Right. Hold
I
on
was
to yourself.
I was Heisman trophying folks after that, like, hey, 6 feet, pimp. Like, what's wrong with you?
Heisman.
Bubble,
Yeah.
like, and that's just what it.
I'm going to HR right now.
Yeah.
And that's what it got to. But I think that's what because even though we're called the United States, we're so divided.
Yeah.
And so everybody has, a whole idea. Every state has an idea of how they want to approach everything, And there's not a unison on how we approach anything together. That's why we're probably still in this a year and a half later, is because there was no unison on how we approach it.
It's crazy though. Obama and them had left pandemic procedures behind,
They
so
did.
there was
No.
We did
They
have a
did.
way.
No.
But that's leadership.
Well,
What he said,
all right,
leadership.
so he left
That
it
doesn't
on
mean
paper.
they were
He
followed
left it on
either.
paper.
Right, no,
but
that's what
he
I'm saying,
didn't
like,
provide
yeah.
the infrastructure. The company, specifically
This is
ventilators, the company they contracted to create the ventilators, like, they just fucked over the contract and ended up making such a short amount that, like, they didn't even fulfill their contract.
And also the mask, the guy who was the company, there's like two companies. And there's one company, and he was like, "Hey, we got these 2 lines. Do you want us to make more?" It was like a couple months before. I think it was like at the end of the year or sometime in like
Around
2019, 20. Yeah. And he was like, "Do you want us to make more?" And they was like, "No, we're good." And he was like, "Okay."
They had to know.
And
And
when was that?
it was like a couple.
November, December.
Yep, it
Of
was like a
when?
couple months before.
That's when they were
2019.
whisperings of this going on. So they knew, even at that point, they should have said.
And who was in charge then?
Oh, still the Trump administration.
And so that's what I'm saying. So
Like,
even if Obama left something on paper, obviously there was still a contract that needed to be fulfilled past his administration.
Yeah, that's
and
the
so
thing.
that's the thing is, regardless on he's gone now. His job is not to hold the feet to the fire. What is the next person doing? Regardless, and that dude was not. Once he's out of the office, his job is not to hold the feet to the fire.
Presidencies have lasting effects.
Well, they
They
have
do.
last effect, but I think
They
also
do, but once he's gone,
I
that,
think
he's
there's
gone.
two.
Once you clock out your
to that.
if you clock out your job and they call you,
The president doesn't just clock out.
oh yeah, you do.
No, you don't.
Hey, you do.
No, you do
Once
not.
8 years.
No, you don't.
Oh, 8
Wait,
years.
hold on. Let's
Oh,
stop
crazy.
it right now.
8 years, I'm clocking now.
So we still, it is 2021 and we still.
My man
talk
was
about-
riding camels, jet skis, and everything. That looked like clocked out.
He
to me.
wasn't in, but his legislation still is in effect.
Yeah, there's some
We
stuff.
still talking about the '94 crime bill.
Yeah, there's still some things
Clinton.
that
Exactly, but how often is he coming up? He always comes up and say, "It was probably a
No,
mistake."
what I'm saying
He's
is
saying-
that the effect
He talked
of
just
the
like that, too.
administration.
The fact of him not finishing out
Well,
the planning,
yeah.
not necessarily having
I
everything.
can hold you to what you did and didn't do while you were supposed to do or not do.
Well, hold on.
Right?
So what I'm saying is say, all right, my last 30 days, I say, hey, check this out. This is what we finna do. Boom, boom, boom. 30 days expire. I'm done.
Well, but
You're
Yeah.
the president of the
I'm not their
Okay,
president.
okay.
I no longer have. I no
was gonna
longer.
say, thank you,
let's
Jesus.
extend
No,
that.
I no longer have influence.
Let's-
I no
let's
longer have
extend
that
that.
influence
More
over
bigger
legislators now.
problems.
So
Let's
you have
extend
another
that.
person in. You have another person in that position. It's
Wait,
his
wait.
job now.
No. Let's
I can't do his job.
Let's extend
now.
that 30-day that 30 end of the job 30 day. It's
That was
you
just-
clock out,
that was-
you finish with that job. Now a couple jobs later, you need a rec. I'm the manager. Okay, that last 30 days, you were phenomenal.
I'm retired.
But 3 months up before that, you were shitty. You were not meeting your quotas. You were not doing what you were supposed to do. So when that rec come, depending on the question they ask me, I'ma answer truthfully.
yeah, and I think also there was.
Oh no.
I think also there was like, yes, the Obama has set up some things, and some things weren't being executed right. But there's also there's two sides to it. Yeah. There's an accountability for the Obama administration that they didn't have
They didn't
enough.
complete the
They
job,
didn't complete. Yeah, they didn't leave the shelf completely full and say, hey, you got a full covered. Peace out. But the Trump administration ignored warnings, cut staff.
Sound like a Republican.
The little stuff.
Warning.
That builds up. Like the little stuff that builds up. They didn't pay the light bill. They were late on the cable bill. They didn't pay the full amount for the balance. Yeah. And next thing you know, and they didn't get somebody to repair such and such. Next thing you know, the house is unlivable.
They're like, why channel 15 don't work?
And then also, if you're not stocking the cupboard back up, because they had, I think that's the part to it is, the Obama had some responsibility, but Trump had 2.5 years to fulfill some things, and everybody agrees.
That's where I'm at.
If he had done even 30% more, 40% more, and been honest, he would still be president.
So are you telling me that in the transition?
Make this clear. Wait. Let me say this. It sounds like I'm defending Trump. I am not.
We
talking about responsibilities and expectations. I am not.
One day I was asked if I was defending
any way,
Candace
shape,
Owens.
or form.
You feel me? I was asked if I was defending Candace Owens one day. I had to make clear, no.
Let me be clear.
Yeah, but I put it to this way. So say I build a house, right? Say I build a house and I live in this house, and now eventually I'm finna sell it to you, and the deck needs work, and on the transition of the house, I let you know, hey, I'm giving you this house, and if you want this, if you want to maximize it, the deck does need work. It's in bad condition, so you might want to focus on that. If you want to buy this house, and then you take the house, and then the deck, and then next thing you know, you fall through the deck. Whose responsibility is it on that once you had the time to do the work on it? So what I'm saying is if there's an infrastructure set up And even if you're leaving, in that transition, and I'm not 100% sure, but I would guarantee in my mind that Obama said, hey, in this area, this is what we got going on. This is what you need to do to replenish. This is what you need to do.
Transition
exactly. So so I cannot give the blame to anybody who has regurgitated information and then somebody else who ignored it. So the blame goes 100% to the person who ignored information.
Well, the way your analogy fails is in the fact that I'm a buyer, and if I see a deck that it's gonna need.
If you may not buy the house,
I have the option to not buy the house.
But what I'm saying is, if you take it, no. If you take it, it's your responsibility, right?
Well, people don't run for presidencies because of the state that the nation is in. Right, exactly. They run for presidencies essentially because it's a goddamn competition and or a whole bunch of other.
But they run off.
They run off the state
the country's in.
You don't have a say. What I'm saying is, you don't have a say in what you get.
Nor do you even have an idea.
You don't have a say in what you get, but you do have a say in looking at the state of the country and saying, I want to put my hat in there.
No. People go for presidency to grab the reins of power.
So you're telling me that Trump did not? This wasn't Trump looking at the country.
Trump got in and
he's been saying the whole time.
Me and my niggas finna ride. You understand?
Hold on, time
we
out.
finna run the board.
Exactly. Hold on.
Big domino dub.
Time out.
Do you understand?
But for 20 years, for almost 20 years. This man has been saying that he could probably run the country better than anybody else that's run the country. So he pretty much ran off of the state that the country was in.
Yes, there was some narcissism in his belief in how he could manage a country. Yes.
And in that, that's what I'm saying. He dropped the ball. He had the information. He dropped the ball.
But look what he did.
Okay, whatever.
Look what he did. Just look at what he did. Tax reform. Well, we got that in 2019 became applicable in 2020. Boom, run it. Like we about to make money. I don't care if we got to cut a whole bunch of programs. Lower these corporate taxes. Right. All my niggas rich as fuck. Me and my niggas about to get money.
Yeah, exactly.
And he didn't come to care about us.
He didn't come to care about.
He didn't come take care of this country.
I got one job and one job only.
That's neither here nor there. I can still criticize him. I can still criticize him on the job that he did, whether he cares about me or not.
No, but I think that's
that doesn't mean that Obama administration left it all.
I don't care what his mindset was.
Once again, you got me out here defending Trump, and I just want to make abundantly clear.
He took the position.
I do not fuck with him.
No, he took the position and he did not handle it properly. So it is fair for me to critique him on how he handled the highest position in the land.
100%.
I think he did one thing.
Okay, 2024.
But he did the one thing wrong. Well, he did the one thing that turned on them.
COVID turned on him.
Well, no, not even COVID. Not even COVID.
It did.
The base.
Yep.
The base that he got is now the base they don't want. Well, hold on. It's not the base. It's not. No. Okay. It's not. It's not the base.
They want the numbers.
It is the base they don't want. Ideologically.
Yeah. No, it's the base. Yeah. It's the base that they do not relate to.
Yeah, and it's the base.
You can't say that they don't. If they didn't want it, they would be disavowing this man right now. But because the numbers are so big, they're like, you know what, Chase out. We'll take it.
But I think it's more they don't want to see hey, if you take what Trump did and make it a platform. Star Spangled Banner, the stripes all over the platform, him on the top. The people they don't want to see, but the people they want pushing him up, they want them under. But now those people are like, hey, let's put this cover up. Y'all gonna see all of us.
Okay,
y'all gonna see all of us.
The same people.
We here now. We here now.
He invited.
It's nice in here. It's real nice in here. I'm staying.
But to say that they don't want them,
is this a heated toilet?
If they didn't want them, they would not be protecting January 6th. If they didn't want them, see what happened is you got rid of classism. So now on that level, you did what? No, listen, on the white level, because you got the trailer park white folks. No, seriously, June 6th, what was that? How many of those people you think that live off the grid? Most of them. They off the grid. That's that dynamic.
Wait.
Hold on,
Right.
time out. You guys didn't let me finish.
Pacific Northwest had the highest.
Time out. You didn't let me finish because mixed into that, because the Proud Boys, that's not a big city group. What you're talking about is you got some people.
Having meetings
Time out. Hear me out.
Washington State is not a big city state.
So the mechanism of these places don't come from big cities. They start in small places. They branch out. Yeah. So the mechanism of this is a rural town, more time like. They didn't want to hear us, Bob, kind of attitude.
Yeah.
You feel me? And so it does get, on the white level, it does get rid of classism because you got the trailer park trash with the politicians fighting for the same thing.
Wait.
But that don't mean that
I just want to give
on
context.
their side. I'm not talking about it.
I want to give context, and this is a great
Billy Bob
segue.
out there. You got Billy Bob out there with a senator. How does that not get rid of classism on their
and
side?
I want to give context, and this is a great segue to critical race theory. The senator is cousin with Billy Bob. His cousin. So your class issue? No.
Regardless of that, you didn't know that before now because he didn't want you to know that he was cousin with Billy Bob.
Exactly. So that's the issue, right? That get back to what he says.
Y'all
the
didn't
senator didn't want anybody to know.
Yeah.
I got these crazy motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. Trump said, "Hey, Billy Bob, come here." And then they realized that Trump had influence past them, and they said, you know what? The only way we could probably win elections is with Billy Bob and them. So bring them too.
I wanna roll it back. So what's your point?
So I said that's what I'm saying. On that side, it gets real classism because now, when you had those folks that did not want to vote, they did not vote. They sat in their places. They did not vote. They did not participate in the democracy in the forms of democracy that we had. Just like you had all the blacks and browns that probably did not vote, right? So he resurges those people.
No.
That's Charleston. That's Charleston, North Carolina. That's all. What are you talking about? Those are those people.
No.
I think we're using classism differently here.
Yeah,
because they still were not trying to take care of the poor white folks.
That's not what I'm talking. But see, that's not what I'm talking about. As far as
you say,
if I'm gonna give you government funding or whatever, but I'm saying as far as how important you are to the movement, there's nobody saying, guess what? We don't associate with them folks over there.
Classism, no, that just means we using y'all.
In my mind, it does.
Well,
no, okay. But you use January.
In my mind, it does. If you don't disavow somebody, you're not saying that there's a separation between me and them. You're saying really we're all the same. Right now, they're saying we're all the same.
But you can't come to my house.
Yeah. Right,
but you can't come to my house.
Secrecy.
And because of that feeling, you can't come to my house. There's still a division.
You can't come to my house.
I'm not looking at any of that. I'm looking at how
I don't want them.
I don't care about any of that.
I don't want them.
I
don't want them in the shot. I don't want them in the pictures.
The surface level of it.
I don't want them.
Your clothes ain't nice enough.
Your clothes ain't nice enough.
Your car sound funny.
Classism is there.
I want to take a picture with the Bible. But I'm not going to take a picture with any of you people.
On the surface level, it is. On the surface level, on the surface level, it isn't. Now, on a personal level, it may be because behind the scenes, you're telling Billy Bob, "Yeah, I don't want to associate with you. Don't come to my house. Don't show up at my property." But guess what? You got them people in suits walking with those folks that coming from those places and doing all that.
Let's talk about classism.
So I mean, on a surface level, when they show the optics of it, no, they're not disavowing or separating themselves from them people. Behind the scenes, maybe. But we all do that because the black community does the same thing.
Political strategy will not let them disavow them publicly.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
No, that's not what you said.
I said on the surface. That's what I'm saying. On the surface level, it gets rid. On the surface level, it doesn't look like that. For the simple fact, it looks like everybody's in a kumbaya circle on that side.
No.
Behind the scenes, is different.
Does it?
No,
we
for them.
Did you
for them.
The division in the Republican Party over the January riot alone showed ideological division. Right?
So why couldn't it pass?
But they didn't want to vote. You weren't gonna vote for
Turkey
something
neck McConnell.
like he wasn't gonna vote for something that it'd be like.
That'll put his brother in jail.
Yeah,
so what you're
saying
it'd
be like voting for your mom to go to jail.
But in practice, I practice something else That's different.
Yeah, that's what power is.
Yeah, it'd be like
Power
like-
has two faces.
It still shows it's still a surface level. It's still a surface level thing. Just because in theory I think that, but in action I do want. It's still a surface level thing. That means deep down inside I'm something else, but on the surface I'm something else. It's a surface level.
I think we need a different word than
I'm only
I don't
talking
know
about it
what
on the
it is.
surface level. I'm not talking about it deep down in the deep theories. I'm saying how it looks to other people, the optics of it. If
But
I
yeah,
see somebody, if I see a senator that I may have voted for, black, white, Mexican, or whatever, walking next to somebody who was part of the insurrection in camouflage, my optics of it is that they all are in cahoots with each other. When you see 70 million people vote for Trump, almost 80 million people vote for Trump, so you think that all of those people are in cahoots with each other.
Well,
that's the perception of it, the optics of it.
So I'm not even
Surface
getting into
level.
the data or literature, but I'm saying the public, so surface level, the very public things that we saw in the Republican Party, the ideological splits, not hey, I watched C-SPAN, so I heard this, or hey, I specifically looked for these articles, so I heard this. No. What we saw was a split on ideology on what happened on January 6th. We didn't get it to pass because McConnell got dirt on everybody. I'm convinced at this point. I don't have facts, but I'm convinced that he can turn tides, right? Like, I know you feel this way, but you're gonna vote this way. What did he say with the Supreme Court nomination? He said we had the votes.
Yeah.
That's some mafia shit. Like,
Yeah,
we got the votes. I don't care
Yeah,
about
it
none of
was-
what you're talking
that
about.
was the
We
only
got the
sentence,
votes.
yeah.
Now, if he's saying that publicly, what you think he's saying in-house?
I don't know. That goes back to what I was talking about, the trust of the government and everybody. Kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about. But that's what I'm saying. Like, even then, I still do not care about that. Regardless on if he has dirt on you or not, that's still not what you're showing when it comes down to your actions.
But
so
they're not
still,
no. Your whole thing was
So what I'm
they
saying-
are cohesive.
so that's what I'm saying.
I told you
That's what I'm
they're
saying.
not cohesive.
But that's
and
what
this is why.
but that's what I'm
And then
saying.
you said
What
on
I'm saying
surface
is-
level
that's
they
why-
cohesive.
because on the
On the
surface-
surface level they
because
were
on
not cohesive.
Well, even if you say something different, but your action shows difference on the surface, you still are cohesive because you voted on it. You still made sure that went ahead.
But the American,
There's still
the people
cohesiveness
saw
in
the
that.
split.
If regardless of what the people show, the actions don't show what you said, and that still shows that you in cahoots with the other people.
I think we've all seen maybe some different things. Maybe there's some difference in context of what we've all seen. So how do we get into CRT from here? Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not the host. Let me mind my business.
But I think this is a good conversation because
I'm
I
just
think that
there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect here, and I'm not sure how to get y'all both to the same point.
no, well, and I think it's good conversation. I
It's
like the
going in
conversation
circles. I
because
wanna move
but I get what both of you guys are saying.
It's my
I get-
job on here to do that. That's what I do.
That's what I'm saying.
You feel me?
It's a
It's not a
pattern.
pattern. No, that's my job.
It's
It's not
a
a pattern.
routine.
A pattern is saying that that's something that
No,
I'm stuck in and I can't get out of.
Yeah.
It's my job to do that.
Something's missing.
Yeah, but I think because I think but also we're looking at it
nice to know.
from the other side, like that looks like a spectacle, and it's like no,
It's like-
that's a hot mess.
'cause I
Like,
think
no,
what-
it's a
I think the implication here is that, but this is what they're doing. The other stuff is happening in the dark. But the stuff that Alcindor was talking about didn't happen in the dark. They voted this way, but we also saw in
Them
the
talking about-
light
I know Liz
that
Cheney and
they
all,
did not
that's what I'm
agree
saying.
with the stuff
I
they
hear
ended
Liz
up
Cheney
voting for.
and people even
So-
agreeing with her. But what I'm saying is, even if I told you, you know what, it's not right to discriminate against black people. That's totally wrong. And then when it comes down to me to put it into action, I discriminate against black people.
How much money might you lose by discriminating not
But I'm
discriminating?
still telling you
That's
on
the
the
thing,
surface.
these people
That's what I'm
operating
saying.
in
On the
their own
surface,
self-interest.
I have to show some sort of united front, so people don't question the cohesiveness of who we are. But yeah, people may still have questions because I said I had a difference in opinion, but my vote, my action still says that it still shows that I don't.
Okay, now I see what's
So
happening.
regardless of what I said, my mind can say one thing, my action can say it different.
Okay, well, in my mind, what I heard, right? So when you say surface level, I'm thinking very public. When you say how you vote,
No,
I'm-
I don't care. Yeah, I'm just talking about how it looked. Regardless of what you say, the surface level is how it looks.
Yeah, the surface level, how it looks. So them voting as a cohesive is a public thing, right?
Definitely. Even though speaking out.
Them speaking out is a very public thing,
Yeah.
right? but how they vote and how they speak out.
It's a unison thing.
No, what you just said is that your exact example contradicts. Right, so they speak out in one way, but they vote another way.
Yeah, because Liz Cheney, she spoke out on Trump,
and she backed all the way out.
And,
but how many people spoke out on it and voted the same way?
But there were some people. But
and that's what I'm saying. That's the one. Those are the ones.
She spoke out on Trump. But if you looked at her record, the entire time,
very big.
She
Trump
supported everything Trump did.
Yeah. So well, and then we get into the motivations and career paths of politicians.
All that type of stuff.
And all that type of shit.
And then also, how many people are really going to look into the data? Because you might, if you're not really looking into and following politics, maybe you just watched and saw that one clip where she said whatever.
Yep.
Even though these are both very surface level things, because you can easily go and look at how these people voted.
Definitely.
I think that's where the mix up in what's surface level. Because to me, how you voted is surface level. Because I'm going to go look into it. But some people, surface level is just what I saw on TV in passing, and what happened under the surface was that vote.
And
that
that's
I didn't go
exactly
look
what
into.
I'm saying is
so
the vote is surface
our
level.
Disconnect
No, that's
okay.
exactly what I'm saying is the vote is surface level. I'm saying that what they are saying is what they really feel. What they're saying, what Liz Cheney really said is what she really felt.
How?
You know? Obviously, she felt that there was some dissension. She felt that January 6th was an insurrection. And even if you feel that way, but what I'm saying is she came out and she was against what happened on January 6th. She spoke saying she was against what happened on January 6th. So even if you want to say that, that's still surface level politics. That goes to what I'm saying is that even if you say one thing on media or on the surface of it, you can think a whole different topic.
I think it's well.
And so
I have the opposite.
And what I'm saying is there's people who disagreed and still voted with blocking the investigation of January 6th or building the committee of the investigation of January 6th. So that's why I'm saying it's surface level because even though you believe one thing, you showed in your vote that you were going to act. Your action's different.
Have y'all ever watched that movie? The brothers that was moving moonshine had Shia LaBeouf and Bane.
Lawless.
Okay,
No,
so little brother and little cousin went and got into some shit.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure the big brother did not agree with it. We know he didn't agree with it, but he's not gonna let nobody take his brother out. He wasn't gonna let anybody take his brother out.
True.
Now, I didn't agree with it, but I'm still gonna vote to protect my interests and my people's interests, even if I don't agree with them or even if I don't like them.
So, and this is why I said, like, it's the opposite for me, right? You can give me a lot of words, you can give me a lot of fluff, right? But where's the power? The power is in what you vote, right? And that is how you truly feel. That is how you are truly moving because your vote is doing something. Your words are just giving me, just kissing my ass for the moment.
Yeah, because your vote is the thing that lasts. Your words can change.
It's
literally
just like,
from
you know
Twitter
how,
to
bro, you know how people talk.
But we all know that people voted because they felt like it was political capital to side with Trump instead of vote against him. So most people were voting with him to save their careers and not their opinion.
And that's where
that's where it's the opposite to where their vote is surface level because it's not truly what they believe. It's just only siding with them only to save their reputation in the Republican Party and with Trump.
But I think
and his followers.
I think two things can be true,
Exactly.
and that's what Al's saying, and that's what you're saying too. It's like
Y'all just saying it opposite ways.
Yeah, you're saying it's like you're going down this street and you're going down that street and you're like, hey, this is left. You know, you're like, that's north and that's south. You're like, no, I'm going the opposite.
Same thing, opposite way.
Yeah, I'm going the opposite way. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
You're saying you
can
vote.
We don't know what's going on in their brains.
No, what you're saying is your vote is what you truly believe is their inside in, and what they say is a surface level. And what I'm saying is sometimes what they say is what they really believe, and their vote is the surface level. And so I believe in this round, a lot of people disagree with how Trump is moving the party, but because they're getting so many numbers, they side with him because that is political capital for them.
I understand that. But the thing is, none of us knows what they truly think. The only thing that is fact is how they voted.
That's true.
So the fact is, that's what you believed on paper. So
well, I'm glad we came to some type of understanding, right?
Yeah.
For me, I don't know.
But both of y'all about to vote 2024 Trump, right?
I was gonna say what?
I'm voting for him for 2024. You feel
Kind
me?
of blasphemy.
But let's get into CRT
Ooh, champ.
because that's the hot button issue right now.
All right, I'll check out.
Because I think going along with that, like your voting and what you're saying, a lot of them are saying this is like the worst thing ever, and this is teaching kids to be indoctrinated to hate their country, to hate being white, and to think they're less than. And that's the thing right now that's being promoted and being pushed as the narrative for why regular old Caucasian soccer mom in Nebraska should be against critical race theory, is because it's going to teach her kids these at least these three things. And you look at it and you're like, wait,
We got to teach our kids every dang day.
but
kids know?
that's not even the thing. It's like,
Once again, you've centered yourself on
Yeah.
something that's not even about you.
Right.
First
There
of all,
you go.
you're not even.
That doesn't
They're not
affect
even
you.
talking about.
Well, actually,
you guys don't even
that's-
talk about slavery or anything type of race in your schools.
Well,
So
Let's first say it's uncomfortable for them
it's
to talk
uncomfortable.
about it.
It's uncomfortable for them to need to talk to their black neighbor.
the one thing that critical race theory does is provides context. So after the Civil War, like, we got the first hints of revisionist history,
Yeah.
right? Not only like the winners tell the history, it's just like, yeah, the winners tell the history, but no, we got a revision of what the Civil War was about, right?
What America would look like.
Right. And so, like, that revision has permeated. I always say the South won the war, right? Like, like you start looking at the South won the war. Why? Because they got to tell the story,
Yeah.
and they got to get back in politics, and they got to tell how these gains for former slaves were applied, right? So you tell a former slave owner, you gotta pay this person that used to work for you for free. It's just like, okay, I'll pay him. I'm getting 5 cents per bill. I'll pay him like half a cent at the end of the season. Sharecropping, like, right?
Because why would y'all not
but
put
it
in
provides
jail? Y'all committed
context.
treason.
Yeah, it provides context, and that's where we get to. Oh, white people have done all these atrocities, so it's going to teach their kids, like, white people are bad. Am I bad?
Sins of the
Right?
father. I mean,
Yeah.
What was the other one? What was the three things?
Is gonna indoctrinate the kids to think that they're less than.
Less than.
What did I forget what I just said.
oh, it'll make them hate themselves.
Make them hate themselves, and what was the other one? Hate themselves. Oh, hate their
Oh, and hate
country.
the country.
Hate their country, right? So when you tell the truth, this is the thing. Like, I don't know if y'all ever sit with your older aunties or cousins or whatever, you're going to learn some stuff about your mama that you didn't want to know.
Yeah, didn't know.
Yeah.
And it changes how you view your mom. Now,
Definitely.
you still love your mom.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But you like, you ain't shit on that mama, right? And this is exactly what CRT does. It gives context on some of the things that you learned and went through as a kid. You as a kid didn't know what was going on, but hey, here's the full context of what was happening
Yeah.
Okay.
at the time. And so it changes your perspective. And now, roost chickens coming to roost. White people have done so much bad shit morally and through law and financially, just so much that it's just like, I gotta tell them all of this.
Yeah.
So my
They don't want to be held accountable.
so because I'm not
Absolutely
the,
not.
I gotta
I'm
tell the
probably
whole
less
truth.
knowledgeable
I gotta
about
tell the
conspiracy.
whole story.
Whole truth.
I can't leave nothing out.
Yeah, and that's the
Well,
part.
shit.
That's the part is we've got to now tell we've got to give a full account. If you don't give a full account, they haven't given a full account ever.
So my question is when is the right time to get a full account? Because like I'm listening to the analogy that you gave, right? And you talk about like kicking it with your auntie, hearing about your mom. But more times than not, your auntie wouldn't tell you that unless you was a grown person or older and being able to handle that information. You may look at your mother differently, but if you were a child and your auntie had told you that, your mother would have been like, "Why are you telling him like he don't need to know something like that?" So that's what
wait.
So let's further. Let's further that analogy. Wait.
So there gets to be a time limit to tell white kids about RCT. But we have to tell our black kids about how to go out into the world, and at any age, could be 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. You're having to tell them at a younger age about how to be around your educators at school, your police and whatever, whoever's harming them. I don't think that there should be a time limit for.
I do think there's a point when children
now
just operate in
coddling them.
curiosity.
So to extend that analogy, right?
It was a question.
So conversation is verbal and nonverbal, right?
Yeah.
So when your auntie finally give you the real, break it down, like, and you like looking back over your life.
Together.
There are certain cues that stuff happened that nobody verbally told you, but it's like,
stick out,
now I see why they responded that way. So what I'm saying is you're getting the cues throughout life. So this gets into application of critical race theory, right? Yeah. So when we talk about application, you don't have to say like the white man is the devil.
Shit.
In first grade, white man is the devil.
Exactly.
Like coming strong like that. But you can't like when you're talking about the civil rights movement, right? That's usually how people get their introduction.
Definitely.
You add that little extra on the end, right? Like this is what happened. Generally, you get what happened. You don't generally get why it happened,
like this
and
happened
why
because,
it was a problem, right? And like so what I generally see is, hey, civil rights movement. We need civil rights so black people could like live in this country and not have to be segregated anymore. And they got it. And end the story. No. CRT says, hey, this is why civil rights were needed, and this is how they were living in comparison to their white counterparts, right? And so they finally got it, and life improved in some way, shape, or form.
And this is how they found a way to.
And this is and then this is how that they found a way legislatively to hit the pause button on those gains, right? And so it gives them it adds empathy to the situation, not just it happened, now y'all good.
And I think also as far as history being taught, like in CRT, it gives you a full picture of why some things are, like, just in the context of, like, you're talking about race and you're talking about like dealings with like within all the communities. But I think as in our schools, why there's such a fight for it is because if you broke it down, people feel like you would, like, it's like, hey, if you, let's say you went backwards. So say you went 80s, then you went 70s, then you went 60s, then you went 50s. Say you went to like 1890s. Say you went to 1890s. And then you look at the person, like if you went through your mom's history like 30 something years and she's like 60, you would, and you saw like everything's being recorded what she did, you would be like, and like some stuff wasn't good, you'd be like,
I don't like that.
Like finding out.
Wait. So I have plug Funky Academic on YouTube. He talks about race and theory all the time. He's a philosopher professor at University of Georgia, and his example of CRT was to give context, and he gave two examples. One of them was, who is Mackenzie Scott, and why should you know that name?
Well, we don't know, so tell us.
Yeah, I know the name, but you have to remind me. You have to.
Mackenzie Scott is Jeff Bezos' ex-wife.
Oh yeah, I know that shit.
Right, so you see that, you feel that right there.
I just know Jeff Bezos left her and got with a weather chick. I was like,
so you see that right there. So with me, right? So racism in itself, without context, I say Mackenzie Scott. You just like it's just another sound like a white woman. Like I don't know who that is. But when I tell you who she is in relation to Jeff Bezos, you know she probably got some sway in Seattle politics, right? She can affect, if you live in Seattle, she can affect your life in some way, shape, or form, and probably in King County, right? So you should know that name. When that name comes up, you should know it. And if you're in politics or whatever, or charitable events or whatever, when that name comes up, you just like, oh, okay, that's a heavy hitter, right? But you don't know her name you don't know the power she has without context. And that's what CRT brings. The other example he said is just like playing chess, right? So a chessboard is 64 squares. Race, the way we generally look at race, we look at 9 squares with no idea of what's happening to the rest of the board. So you thinking you can move in one way and be good, but nah, it's a bishop in the corner waiting for you to move that way so they can come through and snatch you up off the board.
Or you're a rook,
right?
and you're a rook and you can't move diagonally.
Yeah, I can't move diagonally. I can only move straight, right? So one of the real life examples I saw just a few days ago is I follow a lot of Black pages on Instagram because I love my people, right? And I'm trying to figure out what they doing. I saw one where it's just like, hey, first Black-owned mall. Right, and people were celebrating. It's just like on the surface, without context, it's kind of just like, yeah, that's a great accomplishment, cool. But in my mind, I'm thinking, are malls even profitable anymore?
Yeah, online.
What we doing? What we doing?
Yeah,
like
when
the last time you been to a mall and it was popping, right?
Like I was in high
South
school.
Center is struggling.
Yeah. All the malls are struggling.
All the malls are struggling.
Yeah.
So you open it on a mall at the tail end of its profitability. I don't know. I think it's hard for me to celebrate good achievement, but okay, how are you going to be?
How long ago was that?
This was a couple days ago.
I would actually salute that person because when you got to this point to where everybo's been cooped up for a year and a half, it might be booming for, you feel me, a couple years.
I get what
people
you're
might
saying,
just
like,
go, but
I think we all really you celebrate it, but it's like
when I really think into this.
Yeah, when you really you kind of scratch your head.
When you look at the entire market, when you look at the rest of the market for malls.
And unless they're like, well, but then I think sometimes when you look at it also, you can say, hey, if you're thinking, hey, I got this space. If we're just talking about that, like, hey, some other people might want to do some things, and now I own the space, so they have to deal with me in this dying space, but I can revive it. They're like, hey, I can revive it.
We take it back. We talk about the white folks playing in stocks and stuff. What do? They see either they see these stocks falling and they drop them, but then when they see they drop low, they buy it. So that's the same. That's how they profit
they got
too.
Money
They see
to
it,
buy.
but that's what I'm saying. Well, obviously this man, we're talking about somebody who had the ability to do that, and so. That's one reason why to celebrate. Whether it strives or not is on that person, but the fact that we have somebody that can say that is where we don't have nowhere else where we can turn to say that exists.
But that's
is
just
enough of an
feeling.
accomplishment.
That's feeling good, right? But if you're gonna be out of business in a year, what was the point?
I do,
and
but
we don't know the structure of the finance.
I hear that, but how many other Black people may have been inspired to know that they can do that? We talk about Obama sometimes as a filler president, but how many Black people felt that they can inspire their
Don't get him started on Obama.
No, time out.
Bring up Obama.
No,
let's keep it.
No, what I'm trying to tell you is regardless on how you view it, that still was inspirational to people.
I don't need inspiration.
I seen my
I need money. I need motivation.
That's you. That's you.
I need a new roof.
But that's you talking what we're talking about. We were talking about LeBron James earlier.
We need legislation.
LeBron James was inspired by Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was inspired by somebody else.
And
so it does take.
And how many people, non-LeBrons, were inspired by Michael Jordan but never got to the league?
But that's what we're saying is that a lot of people are going to be inspired and may fail, but there's a lot of people who are inspired and succeed until they see somebody do it. They may not feel confident enough to do it.
Okay,
so let's not knock that.
This is where we diverge.
I see a Black dude right now playing basketball one arm, and he might go. They talking about he may go to the NBA.
He ain't going to the NBA.
They talk about it. So what I'm saying is, there's a lot of people with one arm that probably never even thought about even trying to play basketball. There's somebody that's going to take that to the next level because they see somebody able to do it.
So we're thinking very individualistically. Yeah. We need to be thinking as a whole, for Black people level. As a whole.
Y'all just generalizing it, but I'm talking about something big.
You know what? Let me tell you about something local. Look, there's a group here in Seattle. They've done something really huge down in the Central District. People think that they own some things. They think, oh, we've got this land trust. Black people own something. We celebrating it. When we first moved here, we were thinking about getting into it. Something didn't feel right. Glad we didn't. We don't own anything, but it feels inspirational. I don't need us to feel inspirational. Yeah, I don't need us to feel inspirational. I need us to know
I'm from California.
That Black people don't got the money for it. And now we need to figure out a way for us to get the money so that we can own it and not have first rights of refusal in 15 years. Yeah. And we got all these Black people out here thinking, oh yeah, we got something, and we don't have shit.
Yeah, and that is a huge point to be like, hey, we're
looks
done
good, but it's not helping anybody.
Yeah, we're done with inspiration.
I don't need your inspiration.
Yeah.
I need money.
And I think that's what you see now. Is like you got a lot of more people. You have more people saying, "Hey, I don't need speeches. I don't need you to be a good speechwriter or a good orator. I need you to be a good. I need you to be a good hole digger. I need you to be a good director of construction. I need you to be like pointing us to something." That's not your speech, or that's not your website, or that's not your I was about to say it, I was about to say Rainbow Push Coalition. That's not like that's pointing us to that. No, we need you guys. We need to be moved forward.
Alphabet people.
No, like Rainbow Push is Jesse Jackson. Oh. Like we need to be actually move forward. We need to be building something and not just talking about what we need to do. Like we don't need more inspiration. We've been
so inspired. We've got some inspirational Black figures.
So what I'm asking is somebody actually putting forth the effort to make the action? That's more than just inspirational. Yeah. So that is, you can be inspired by the action that I have. This lets you know that you can put it into action. Yeah, you don't need inspiration. Now you need to figure out what did this person, like that's what we don't do. What did this person do to get there?
And what we probably gonna find out is he had a trust fund. That's what we're gonna find out.
And that's what I'm saying. Maybe you can worry about that to say maybe they had an advantage.
$300,000 of student debt in 6 months. Oh, because my mom gave me one of their houses to live in. We also rented out the other house that they gave us. Yeah, that's how all those stories go. That's how they all go.
So Patrice, I feel you on that because all right. So there's this dude on YouTube right now who's saying he could teach people how to make $50,000 starting from a penny, right? Nice. And I was like, that is crazy. And so he takes his penny and he goes to a store and he buys like bags and he sells the bags, right? And then he eventually turns it into a car service. And at that moment, when I seen him start the car service, I said, well, that defutes the penny part because you already had a car, you know? And so what I'm saying is yeah, once you do your research, if you see, oh, this person already had a hand up, it's unrealistic.
What I'm seeing.
Then yeah, but if we haven't done the research, you can't say that. And so until you know that this person, we never know. He could have been a sneakerhead, made money off of selling sneakers, and eventually.
We're getting back into
I hear what you're saying.
No, I'm speaking
so what
broadly,
I'm saying is the action. What I'm saying is the action should be inspirational enough for you to figure out can I do this?
That's the thing. I've been inspired so many times, and I do research. Oh, that's the story. We got to come up in here. And the thing is, the research always leads me to somebody had to connect. Somebody had the money.
Everybody's
and Black people as a whole do not have the money. We don't have it.
So my whole premise,
not the connect.
Right? When we start talking about Black people and the uplift of Black people, my whole premise is I do not care about these special occasions, the aberrations. I'm looking for what's going to benefit the group the most, right? Because I don't need one LeBron James. I need LeBron to be regular.
Yeah.
Right? I need that flood of talent because it is out there, right? I need LeBron James to be regular. I don't need the pebbles through the cracks. I need the floodgates, right, kicked open, right? So like, yes, these things are inspirational.
They are
They are very
praiseworthy.
inspirational. They are praiseworthy. Recognize them in their place. But after you finish recognizing them, put on your goddamn overalls and get to work, right? So let me say this, and then you can run, right? I just finished listening to The Death of the King by Tavis Smiley, right? And one thing I walked away from it was Martin Luther King was right, but you niggas wanted to feel good, right? And what I'm pointing to specifically is the Black Power movement. Tell me one gain of the Black Power movement that does not have to do with self-confidence.
I mean, all of that has to do with self-confidence, right?
Nope. Calm.
You said the black movement?
The Black
Black
Power
Power.
movement.
Black Power
There was the
movement?
Civil Rights movement, and the Black Power movement came right after it, right? And took over everything, right? Became the de facto movement for black people. What is one gain that the Black Power movement has given black people that does not have to do with pride, how you feel, self-confidence?
I think that before you can move anywhere, you have to first have self-pride.
No, Lyndon B.
Hold
Johnson.
on, wait, pause, y'all.
So Lyndon B. Johnson called Martin Luther King the nigger preacher to his face in multiple meetings, right? But Martin Luther King still did what he needed to do, said what he needed to say to get the Civil Rights Bill. Basically, what's the point of that? Call me what you want. Get my name right on the check, homie.
Yeah, but
right?
give me what it was.
So yes, you have to start with a certain amount of pride, but at the end of the day, you still got to move the goddamn needle.
I hear that.
The needle was not moved. So like, I don't want to be inspired. Help me get jobs. Help me get these skills.
Okay, and that's the next place I was going to go
put
to.
programs in place to help me improve my life.
No, it wasn't.
And I feel like we get more inspiration and less improvement as time goes on.
All right.
And that is the current issue we need.
And my closing argument is this: is that if you have something like that, something like a Black Old Mall could be inspirational, but we're stopping at looking at that. Like, what is the facet of that? Is the theme going to be Black-owned stores within that? And so if you're doing that, then yeah, you are creating a bigger facet for everybody and creating an opportunity for everybody, because just putting your store in a mall, next thing you know, it can help you expand. It can give you the notoriety. It means somebody, even if it's a Black person with a trust firm, them using their resources to help other Black people get ahead. So that's my thing. We can never knock that. And yes, inspiration is always good, but inspiration doesn't mean stop your fight. And I don't want people to ever feel like when somebody says that's the next step. Is you're inspired so that you know that your fight is worth it. See, that's the thing about inspiration. Some people will fight and don't feel like the fight is worth it, and it's enough to willing to get up. Being inspired means that, you know what, I'm gonna fight, and even when it looks bleak, that's when I need to know I can keep on fighting, because it's the end of the road is worth it. It may not look like it right now. So yeah, everybody ain't gonna make it. But if you are inspired to continue to fight, more people will.
This will probably be a good way to segue next time
Yeah.
into the media.
Next time
Yeah.
on What's the Topic?
Because the thing is, all I keep thinking about is Hunger Games. They want to give them a little bit of hope, but not too much hope.
Not too much
A little
hope.
bit of hope. They stay content. They don't really change anything. That girl came out there and gave them all that hope. They started riding.
Yep.
Yeah, he
Look,
killed his
so
right-hand man.
we give them enough inspiration.
eat
Look
these
at what these other
blueberries,
Negroes did.
Yep.
Right.
But
Rations.
And
but let's not talk about what's actually going on with all of y'all.
Yeah.
We're just gonna show y'all a little bit of
And look at all
inspiration
this,
and
what y'all
hope.
had to sacrifice to actually, I had to sacrifice people, actually just to get in the games and get food. You
And
had to
side
sacrifice
notes,
so much.
Martin Luther King did not give his life and did not sacrifice his life. He was killed,
Murdered.
Yeah, true.
assassinated, and the U.S. government was convicted of it in 1998. So I just want people to not say that no more. I just had to throw that out there. He did not give his life. He was murdered.
He never gave
Thank
his
you.
life.
Facts.
And he was also knocking boots with somebody that wasn't his wife.
Several somebody.
Hey!
Just like a lot of our preachers.
We,
No,
that's
for
a whole
real, you ain't
other-
never you ain't never lied. You ain't never lied.
The Lord dwells in.
Well, we about to get out of here. Thanks, Al and Patrice. We will see. They'll be back on the show next week because we got a lot more to talk about. We might have another guest too. So y'all stay tuned. Black Pew Podcast. Peace.